nobody will show up for therapy. Like,
Okay. Because they're all
and
having
that's
fun.
they're all going out. There are parties. They're all drinking. There's cards being played. Like, so Diwali is a very big gambling sort of get together.
Okay.
And that's something that happens for like 20 days straight.
Oh, wow.
Where families get together, friends get together, and we're all like playing cards, and it's pretty friendly and all of that. And it's honestly the happiest time of the year. It's like your Christmas, like how Christmas would be for you. It's for us. And then it's followed by Christmas and then New Year's. So that whole time, nobody cares about their mental health whatsoever because they're happy. And as soon as it's New Year's, like as soon as January has hit, Jan, Feb, March, we are like, we get inquiries from everywhere. Like corporates will reach out to us that, okay, now, the new year is starting. We need to do this program and that program, and we need to prepare for mental health day.
Party's
or whatever.
over. Party's over. Reality sets back in.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then we go to, I think the other 2 months that there is no work for us is, I think, June and July. I have no idea why, but I don't have a logical reason for it. But what I've noticed is that June and July work is lesser. So I'm not particularly sure why anymore, but yes, it is seasonal. We have noticed that. I think it's because people are traveling a lot in June and July because it's like
is school out in the summertime there, or is it year round?
So now the rules are changing a lot. All the schools have different rules. Now there are a lot of schools that don't have a 2-month summer vacation. They have summer vacation for 10 days. Then they have school for 1 month and then 10 days again, which is really sad in my opinion.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing here. Big fall break, winter break, spring break, and summer has become shortened. So you're essentially going all year round. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what's happening. So because of that, most like families want to travel in like May and June. So that's when we also see a dip of like participation or people caring in general about mental health. And we see this also not just through one-on-one therapy, but we have a lot of events that we do, a lot of like awareness events, things like that. So participation in that also drops in these months. So we know now that October, November, December, we don't plan anything. We've and it's honestly, it's good for us also because then I also get to enjoy my time, my Diwali, my New Year, my Christmas. So it's great for me also. So I'm not really complaining. Yeah. It's just an observation.
yeah, no, that's good. It's good to hear these things because it validates what we're doing too. The interesting comparison, I think, is over here, the holidays of November, December, January, where it's you got Halloween at the end of October, and then Veterans Day, where we have 1 day off to celebrate veterans of the military, and then it's Thanksgiving at the end of November, and then Christmas, and then New Year's, which are a week apart from one another. The interesting thing here is I think that Christmas is no longer, I don't know if it ever was really, not in a couple of lifetimes anyway. It's lost its real meaning of like giving as the three wise men gave gifts to Jesus, right, to welcome him in. It's become about consumerism. And so it's like spending. And so there's all this like social pressure to spend. And there's this almost like a transactional relationship ledger sheet type thing that goes on where it's like, oh, you gave me a gift. Now I have to give you one. And people are worried about finances and social norms and whether or not they're giving enough. And what's really, it's really fouled up to me is we have this thing, and I don't know if you guys do it, but we do Black Friday, which is the consumerist like push to buy all your presents right after Thanksgiving. And then there's Cyber Monday, where you're supposed to like go online and do all your shopping. And then there's Giving Tuesday after Cyber Monday, where all the nonprofits come out and they're soliciting donations. And I'm like, oh, sweet. So you compete for the leftover crumbs after corporate America takes all your money for buying shit you don't need.
Oh God.
It's so inverted. Like, that's not what this is about, man.
They basically turned the most jolly holiday into the most capitalistic version of it.
it's hideous. And there's such competition. The good news is, though, not to like, so I'm not making this sound like it's horrible. The good news is I'm starting to see more and more people who are rejecting that philosophy. They're like, we're just not giving it. My family for sure is not doing it. Many of my friends are not doing it. They're like, I'm not giving gifts to my grown 40-year-old brother anymore. What are we doing? We're just pushing money around. Like, if I see something cool, I'm going to mail it to him throughout the year. I don't have to wait till December to do it. And similarly, I think I'm seeing a lot more people just kind of shutting off social media, which we could probably, bang on for another hour. But I'm starting to see some encouraging signs that mental health is actually being taken care of. So maybe this big messaging that is become popularized and as everybody's shiny new object now, maybe it's working, I don't know. I'm curious to know what your take is on it, as we are both, I produce social media content. You produce social media content. And by the way, if you're listening to this, go definitely follow Jasdeep on Instagram. Her videos are great, like absolutely great, punchy, pithy, entertaining. You're always fired up. You carry a great energy. The information is very sound. It's very practical. People can apply it in their lives. Like, I love watching your videos.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You earned it. But like, you and I both produce this stuff for social media. And so we find ourselves, I think I find myself in this weird double bind where I'm like, I don't want to be part of the machine. And yet I know that's how I get the biggest audience. If you can call a couple hundred people a big audience, I mean, it's bigger than any auditorium I've ever filled. So like, that's big to me. And if I'm going to give a message, like, I'm going to keep doing it, even though it kind of feeds the beast. Right. So like, how do you feel about that? Now, do you think you're seeing the needle move at all?
I've had so much back and forth with myself that, I hate social media. I hate it.
Thank God I'm not alone. That makes me feel good, honestly.
Yeah. No, I actually think it is the worst creation for mental health, but I do think it is the best thing for a business.
Yeah.
So that's where my conflict is. That for me, honestly, personally, like in the past month, I've been consuming a lot more Instagram than I was before, but that also has its own mental health reasons. But for the past, I think, whole year, entire 2020, I barely did anything personal on Instagram because I just couldn't. Yeah. What I was doing was all work related, because I realized that it is a tool to amplify my business. It is a tool to amplify my credentials, my work, and it is a tool to reach people globally, which I would not get otherwise. So, like, we would not be talking if it wasn't for social media.
No, Safiso came across you and connected us, and I thought that was awesome.
Exactly. So, I mean, the fact that this has happened just simply because I put out a couple of posts on social media and made myself available on it, it led to something. It led to a good relationship between two people who live in two different parts of the globe. I feel like that is my entire drive to even doing anything on social media. I don't look at it as something for me anymore. It's only my work. It's only for my social media presence, is only my professional presence. And I do realize that now people don't only want to see me talk about mental health. They want to see me talk about me.
Yeah.
Which is something which I'm struggling with a lot. Like, a lot of people now will ask me randomly that, why don't you tell us about your education and your journey and your this? And I'm just like, no, I don't. No.
I have something for you that might help. And take this or leave it. It's just my perspective. I was educated through my grad program to do exactly what you're doing, which is continue the veiled therapist motif, if you will. Mm-hmm. Learn everything about your patients, but don't share anything about yourself. And I have been on a long, slow, steady journey against that. And it wasn't always intentional, but it's become in the last 5 to 6 years far more intentional. I purposely share so that I can maintain some of my basic fundamental tenets, which are authenticity, transparency, consistency. If I'm expecting that of my my clients, my patients, I have to do it too. Now, that's not to say that I overshare. And it takes a good, skillful, insightful, self-aware person to know the difference, right? So I'm not going to use their time in the session or my interns or my students' time in supervision to talk about my own stuff or process through my own issues. That's totally inappropriate. However, what is very appropriate at all times is if you have a reasonably similar experience that will create rapport and you can heighten that rapport through sharing it, I don't think it's just a good idea. I think it's required that we say, yeah, like you just shared, you're getting married, you had your wedding put on hold and on hiatus or whatever. Like, there are people out there who have had graduations delayed, promotions, people who've put their businesses on hold. And I think that if you share something like, yeah, man, I get it. My marriage got stalled. They go, oh, thank you. Somebody gets me. And you're not just this like faceless clinical being who's just being a mirror, right? So as you move into the social media realm, I've watched a few people who I look up to. Christian Conti is one of them. He's a good friend and a mentor of mine. He lives in Pennsylvania. He's doing great work with the Pennsylvania prison system. I've mentioned him a million times in this program. Dr. Christian, Conte, Conti.com. Follow him on Instagram, whatever. He brings his wife and his daughter onto camera with him. I think that's amazing. He talks about parenting and relationships and marriage stuff. And the other guy is Zubin Damania, who is a medical doctor here. He goes by ZDogg MD, ZDOGG MD. And he's become quite a social media presence. He was before. He did all these crazy, cool videos that are like kind of mocking and poking at fun at healthcare. But now he's become a leader during the pandemic on basically science, not politicizence, not hyperbolic opinions, but just what does the science say? What do the researchers say? And he's become a real leading voice in that. And he talks about his family all the time. He talks about his home. He's very, very transparent. And I think it makes him more relatable. So if that helps you, I would encourage you to do that because I think it makes you human. And when people see that a human being has done what you're doing, which is essentially become a leader in your community, a leader in your profession, an original thought provoker, and somebody who cares deeply instead of just like a person on Instagram seeking fame. Because I think that we kind of go there sometimes. I'm Insta famous, right? Like that will not only create more credibility, but it will invite more people in to do that same thing. And then the whole field augments, right? And the whole rising tide lifts all boats philosophy gets implemented. So I would encourage you not to shy away from that. I would embrace that and really step into it. I think you've got a great possibility there.
I wish I had the courage to go all out. The problem is not whether it's good for me or not. I know it's great for me. The problem is whether I'm willing to give that piece of my life to the rest of the world is my issue. And I do know that it has a lot of layers in that of like fear and judgment. And I'm aware, I'm extremely self-aware human being. Too aware for my own good.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm sure you understand that.
My wife would never want to be on any of my YouTube videos, but she has no problem with my kids being on there, which is interesting. Yeah. So I totally get it. Yeah. And you want to keep parts of your life private for sure. For sure. Yeah. Not everybody doesn't need to know everything either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, so I'm at the place where I'm trying to strike that balance between providing mental health care and providing mental health care for myself. So that's the real balance that I'm trying to sort of strike, because giving that piece of my life to the world means that's less for me in the sense that it will take a toll on my mental health at some point. And am I willing to cross that barrier is where I'm negotiating with myself at this point. How much am I willing to give, and how much do I think I need for my sanity?
That's good. That's good.
So it's honestly, social media is all consuming. So I feel like you can't just have one foot in the door and then figure it out. It's all in. Like you have to be all in to some degree. I do feel that there is that pressure. So I feel like I'm going to take my time with it before I give up my life completely to this device.
Yeah. Just put all